4 AMA national championships, 2 seasons fighting for relevance, and now a factory ride with a brand that has never started a single Supercross gate in its 100-year history. Dylan Ferrandis is betting his entire career on a bike that doesn't have a proven setup, a reference lap time, or even a finished suspension map for American stadium dirt. Dylan Ferrandis is a 4-time AMA national champion, 2 250 Supercross West titles, 1 250 Outdoor Championship, and 1 450 Outdoor Championship. He earned every title through race management, not theatrics. Ferrandis doesn't ride like Stewart or Carmichael. He rides like a tactician. He waits, he measures, he attacks when the window opens and the risk-reward math tilts in. That style earned him factory Yamaha support, a 450 Outdoor Championship in 2021, and respect across the paddock as one of the smartest racers in the field. He doesn't throw the bike sideways for show. He carries momentum through corners, maintains traction where others spin, and picks apart competitors over race distance instead of in the first 3 laps. That approach doesn't generate highlight reel scrubs, but it wins championships when executed properly. If you're not subscribed yet, now's the time. Hit subscribe and stay in the gate with us for the next breakdown. Back to the video. Championships don't guarantee longevity, and in a sport that cycles through talent every 2 seasons, perception shifts fast. When results slip, even proven champions get labeled as fading. The American racing machine doesn't tolerate stagnation. Teams need podiums to justify budgets, sponsors need visibility to justify investment, and riders need results to stay employed. Ferrandis understood that when he left factory Yamaha after 2022. The move made sense on paper. Honda offered opportunity, and Ferrandis wanted the Honda frame to be competitive. And Yamaha's rider roster was stacked with Eli Tomac and younger talent pushing for seats. But leaving factory support means losing more than a logo. It means losing dedicated suspension techs who live at the test track, engine maps built specifically for your riding style and feedback, and the testing budget that lets you dial a bike over months instead of weekends. Factory teams absorb risk. Private teams survive on efficiency, and efficiency doesn't win championships when the competition is running unlimited budgets. Ferrandis joined Phoenix Racing Honda for 2024 and 2025, and the results reflected exactly what happens when a rider loses margin for error. He wasn't slower, he wasn't washed. He was racing on a bike that couldn't compensate for the tiny setup deficits that separate podium finishes from mid-pack anonymity. In Supercross, those deficits compound every lap. A suspension setting that's 2 clicks off costs you 0.2 per rhythm lane. Multiply that across 20 laps and 17 rounds, and suddenly a former champion is fighting for top 10s instead of title. The bike wasn't bad, it was good enough for professional racing. But good enough doesn't win races when you're competing against factory Kawasaki's, factory Yamahas, and factory KTM's that have been refined through millions of dollars in testing and development. Ferrandis finished 11th in the 2024 Super Motocross standings with an average finish of 10.31 across 26 feature starts. He managed 4 top 5 finishes and 19 top 10s, but never stood on a podium in the Outdoor Nationals, a stark contrast to his 6 outdoor podiums in 2023. Not catastrophic failures, just the slow erosion of relevance that every aging rider fears. That's where most comeback stories end. A proven rider fades into commentary, training younger talent, or running a private team. The sport moves forward, and legends become footnotes. But Ferrandis didn't take that exit. He took the riskiest gamble available, Ducati's first ever AMA Supercross effort. Ducati is not new to dirt. The Desmo450 MX has been racing in Europe since 2024, and the results are legitimate. Alessandro Lupino won the 2024 Italian Pro Prestige MX1 Championship on it. The bike claimed its first ever motocross victory on debut at Sardinia in March 2024. The Desmo450 MX uses a 449.6 cubic centimeter single-cylinder engine with Ducati's signature Desmodromic valve system, the same mechanical architecture that powers their MotoGP and World SBK program. Desmodromic valves eliminate valve springs entirely. Cams both open and close the valves directly through mechanical linkages, allowing higher RPM limits without valve float, more aggressive cam profiles, and tighter valve timing control across the rev range. The claimed output is 63.5 horsepower at 9,400 RPM, with the rev limiter set at 11,900 RPM. a new benchmark for the category. For context, most current 450 make between 58 and 62 horsepower depending on tuning and exhaust configuration. Ducati's engine sits at the top end of that range, and nobody outside Ducati's internal test team knows how that power hits when the throttle cracks open mid-whoops, or how the engine responds to clutch modulation off a 90-degree bowl turn. The Desmo450 system gives Ducati theoretical advantages: higher peak RPM, more precise valve timing, and reduced mechanical friction, but it also introduces complexity. Traditional spring return valves are simple, proven, and easily tuned by changing springs. Desmo450 systems require precise mechanical clearances, more frequent valve checks, and specialized knowledge to maintain. That's manageable in MotoGP, where teams have unlimited budgets and dedicated engine technicians. In Supercross, where mechanics rebuild engines in cramped semi-trailers under time pressure, complexity becomes risk. If something breaks or wears unexpectedly, Ducati doesn't have decades of field data to diagnose the problem. They're learning in real time, and every mechanical DNF costs championship points Ferrandis can't afford to lose. This is where the gamble sharpens. Ducati has never raced Supercross, not once, not a single gate drop, not a single practice lap on stadium dirt, not a single data log from Anaheim, Daytona, or Atlanta. Motocross and Supercross are different disciplines with different demands. Outdoor motocross rewards engine character, long, smooth power delivery, traction over rough terrain, and corner speed across wide-open layouts where riders can carry momentum through sweeping turns and long straightaways. Supercross rewards precision, sharp throttle response, instantaneous clutch engagement, suspension compliance over square-edge impacts, and chassis balance through tight rhythm sections where one miscalculation sends you into tough block. Ducati doesn't have a reference baseline to start from. They're building that baseline from scratch, and the only way to build it is to race. They're building it with Dylan Ferrandis and Justin Barcia. That's the real story. Ducati signed a proven champion with development experience, technical feedback skills, and the race IQ to separate bike problems from rider mistakes. Ferrandis spent years on factory Yamaha working with suspension techs, engine builders, and race engineers who expected granular feedback after every moto. He knows how to articulate what the bike is doing under load, what the chassis needs in transitions, and where the engine's delivery is masking or creating traction issues. He can tell an engine builder if the power delivery is loading the rear tire too hard on corner exit, or if the throttle response is too abrupt for stadium dirt. That skill set matters more than raw speed when you're building a Supercross program from zero. Ducati needs someone who can tell them if the problem is spring rate, tipping curve, throttle map, or rider error. And Ferrandis can do that. But development riders don't get excuses. If the bike struggles, people will say Ducati wasn't ready. If Ferrandis struggles, people will say he's done. That's the paradox of comeback gambles. You can't separate rider performance from bike performance when both are unproven, and fans won't wait 3 seasons to see results. Supercross audiences reward immediate success or entertaining failure. They don't reward patience, and they don't tolerate mediocrity from riders who've already proven they can win. Ferrandis is walking into 2026 with no safety net, no proven setup, and no margin for mechanical gremlins or learning curve crashes. One DNF from a broken part nobody tested properly, and the narrative shifts to failed experiment. 2 mid-pack finishes from suspension settings that can't handle stadium dirt, and the paddock starts whispering about retirement. 3 races without a podium, and sponsors start questioning the investment. Ferrandis knows this, Ducati knows this, and they signed the contract anyway because the upside justifies the risk. The upside is historic. If Ferrandis podiums or wins on Ducati's debut Supercross season, it becomes one of the greatest comeback stories in modern racing. A former champion returns to relevance by gambling on an untested program and proving both himself and the bike in the most competitive Supercross field in history. Ducati earns instant credibility in American racing, validating their engineering and proving the Desmo450 MX is not just a motocross bike with lights. It's a legitimate Supercross platform capable of beating Japanese factory machinery. That success justifies the entire project and positions Ducati to expand their US racing program, sign additional riders, and challenge the Japanese factory stranglehold on AMA podiums. It also proves Ducati's Desmo450 technology works outside road racing, opening doors for broader off-road expansion in rally, enduro, and adventure markets. The downside is equally clear. If the bike isn't ready, Ferrandis absorbs the failure. At 30 years old, he's not old by Supercross standards. Riders like Chad Reed and Justin Brayton competed successfully into their 30s, but he's past the age where teams gamble on potential. Teams want proven results or young talent they can develop. Ferrandis is neither. He's a proven talent betting everything on unproven machinery, and if it doesn't work, the sport moves on without him. This is why the story matters. Ferrandis is riding for Ducati because this is the only move that changes his trajectory. A factory ride with an established brand puts him back in the spotlight, but those seats are filled with younger riders already. Ducati offered the only thing Ferrandis couldn't get anywhere else: a chance to rewrite the narrative entirely. If it works, he's not just a former champion who came back, he's the rider who made Ducati's Supercross debut successful. That's legacy defining. And here's the thing, even with all this talent, all this engineering, Ducati's motocross bike didn't actually shake the dirt bike world the way everyone expected. If you want to understand why, watch next. Why Ducati's motocross bike didn't shake the dirt bike world. It explains everything this move is really up against. And don't forget to hit subscribe. This season is about to get interesting.